Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Meno Lounge. I'm Julie Gordon-White, CEO of MenoWell, Menopause Energy and Protein Bars, and I'm excited for our show today. A little bit different. We're going to talk about something really interesting, the mind-skin-body connection with Dr. Kiera. I see you. Let me bring you up. And it's kind of a different take on skin during midlife. So let's see, Dr. Kiera, did I grab you there? Here she comes. Hi.
Hi.
It's been a minute.
It has. It has. It's so good to see you.
You too. And I realized I did not know this before, or maybe I forgot that you are in the Sacramento area. Is that right?
I used to be in the Sacramento area, and now I'm outside Seattle.
Oh, okay. That's what. So I grew up in Davis, California, and you were an
Oh,
assistant professor at Davis at UCD. So a lot of connections there.
yeah.
Super.
No, and I have to say, I still have California in my mind. I kept my Sacramento cell phone number because part of me is like, I'll be back. I'll be back.
916 for life. Just saying. I
Totally.
know. Love, love, love. Well, my parents still live in Davis, so I'm there a lot. In fact, we're going into 90 Rayleigh's grocery stores coming up here in June. So I was hoping you were
Amazing.
still there. I was going to send you to all the Rayleigh's, like, take pictures. Hi, Manuel.
Well, I
Uh,
have friends that are still
I,
there, so I will tell them to go get them. Can I tell you the funniest thing though?
what?
So, we had the MenoWell bars at home, and I could not keep them in the house because my teenage son kept eating them. He was loving them. I was like, dude, those are for me.
You're like, I want to tell you something. He's like, I don't care, mom. Hormones are hormones, right? So
He's a grown boy. He needs, he needs to have his hormones
he needs
balanced
to
there. So
have good maca in his body. I know it's funny, especially when we're at events, men come up like, I eat my wife's mineral bars. Is that okay? I'm like, absolutely. My husband
totally.
eats them every day. You have hormones. It's fine. So I love that. I love that. Fantastic. So let me know, what does he love? Double chocolate brownie?
Yes, that's the one.
That's the one. That seems to be the menopause, like really menopause flavor. So we'll get your son some bars. So glad to have you here. For those who don't know you, which I don't know who, is Dr. Keira Barr here with us. And you say dual certified. Is that double also board certified
Yes.
physician? All things skin, somatic, mind, body, skin whisperer. You've been on Mind Body, Glamour, like all the places. So I'm super honored to have you with us today to talk about the skin, mind, body, somatic connection during menopause. Does that
Yeah,
sound right? Yeah.
yeah. So, it's a lot. I mean, during menopause, there are so many changes with our hormones, and certainly there's a direct impact of the influence of estrogen and progesterone and the androgens on our skin health. But I think there's so much more, and I think you've had conversations like this as well, that so much rises to the surface
Mm.
at this stage of life, that goes beyond skin deep. So, and it's a two-way street, right? How we feel beneath the surface directly influences what shows up on it, and vice versa.
That's huge. I think we need to put a little pin in that one because we don't always think, even from a nutrition perspective, right? Inside out, we are often focused, and it's important to do outside in as well, but we need the holistic approach to really optimize. So before we dive too far in, can you define somatic for us? Because not every
Yeah.
woman understands, how that word and how it applies.
Yeah. So soma is our bodies, and somatic is the body from within, the living body within. So, how noticing our thoughts, our feelings, our sensations, that really is how we feel in our body, how we live inside our body,
Mm.
essentially.
Hmm. And especially in midlife, I think that we can become out of touch with how we feel about our body until it starts screaming at us again. What do you think
Absolutely.
about that?
I think that is so spot on, myself included. So many of us, um, I think we've been conditioned to believe, right, that everything is, we need to work through it. Everything is in our mind, and we become completely disconnected from our bodies. And I have so many women that I've worked with, as we are doing the work together, they'll name, I didn't realize how disconnected I was.
Mm-hmm.
That idea of feeling at home in their body is completely foreign because, especially if you've been dealing with hot flashes or aches and pains or specific skin conditions,
Mm-hmm.
being connected to the body can feel very uncomfortable and not feel very safe.
That's a good point, that we may not want to feel connected to our bodies because for some women, it feels like our bodies are betraying us right now.
Totally.
That's an
Yeah.
interesting point because it feels like, I always say, it calls us back to our bodies, but then other people are like, I don't, she's annoying right now, so I really don't want to hang out with her.
That's exactly right. We want to get as far away as possible. So I think there are so many of us that we overwork, we distract, we find ways to soothe. And again, we are wired for survival. So I just want to honor and name that if you are one of those women who doesn't want to make contact, you know, is doing things in service of, you know, your well-being, nothing has gone wrong. Nothing has gone wrong. I think it's just an invitation, especially in midlife, as things are shifting, to get really curious of, you know, are the things that we're doing, are they actually in our best interest at this stage of our lives?
Right, right. That's key at this stage in our lives because what served us in our early 40s may not serve us in our later 40s or early 50s. And noticing that so we can let that go or make a change or at least acknowledge it. Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, it's so fascinating because our skin and our brain are embryologically linked. So they are actually communicating with each other all the time. And I don't know if most people know this, right? When we think about especially stress, menopause is a natural evolution as our hormones are declining, but it can put stress in different ways on our bodies, right? Our bodies, as our hormones are declining and there's an imbalance and we're not sleeping as well. These are stressors on our body. Now, our brain and our skin are communicating with each other all the time. And we think when we're stressed, it's a top down. Your brain is sending the signals. But what most people may not appreciate is that your skin actually has the same hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis that your brain does. So your skin is actually capable of producing those stress hormones. So your skin is actually a target and a source of the stress response, which is why so many women might notice, oh my gosh, my skin is flaring so much more than it was. It's so much more sensitive. It's so much more dry and irritated.
Itchy.
It's be- and itchy, yes, because our skin definitely changes as our hormones are declining. The pH, our skin is typically naturally more acidic, but the pH rises as we are maturing. So around age 50, the pH of our skin increases, which shifts the skin microbiome. And, you know, so there's an imbalance of the healthy bacteria. And so there's a lot that can go on.
Wow.
So it's not just in your imagination.
That's amazing. I really hadn't heard about that connection about our skin signaling to the brain, also, not just the other way around.
Absolutely. Yeah. So your skin and your brain are derived from the same layer of embryologic tissue. So from, you know,
Okay, wait.
in,
Embryologic. I think about a babe in like an embryo. So embryo, give us the
yes,
definition of that. Okay.
yes. So they comes from the same layer of tissue, what we call the ectoderm. So yes, when you were forming in utero, your skin and your brain were connected. They were linked.
Mm.
And if you think about it, your skin is really your ultimate boundary, your ultimate barrier between your internal environment, your external environment. And in the womb, your first point of contact was with your mom, like your skin. So skin is so much more than just this living, breathing organ that we put makeup on or our clothes on, right? It is communicating with your external environment, with temperature and textures and UV radiation, but it's also connected to all the emotion, the thoughts, and the sensations from the inside out.
Mm. Wow. I love this. This is amazing because we think about this about the brain, even though the brain gets signals from all these external things because the brain doesn't have any eyes other than our own eyes, right? What we feed it, we tell it what to think. But thinking about it from our skin is really interesting and a different approach, and just amplifies all the more reason why. Well, you can tell us the things that we need to do to protect, to support um, our largest organ, right? Isn't the
Yeah.
skin the largest organ?
Our skin is our largest organ, and so it is an outside in as well as an inside out approach. You had mentioned with nutrition from inside out. So, obviously, as our ultimate boundary between the outside world and our internal environment, we need to fortify that boundary from the outside from environmental exposures. So, especially as we are maturing, where people are always talking about anti-aging, worst term
Oh,
ever, but how do we age in a way that um, honors our process and also continues to protect us from the outside elements. So this is where 90% of visible signs of aging are from UV exposure. So we do need to protect ourselves from environmental elements like sun exposure on a daily basis. Now, in California, I'm in Central Oregon right now, where it's very, very sunny. Um, you know, Wearing sunscreen makes sense on a daily basis, a mineral-based SPF 30 or above. But when I'm in outside Seattle, you might think, oh, you don't need sunscreen on a daily basis. Yes, you do, because 80% of those UV rays are still coming through the clouds.
mm,
And the ultraviolet rays, ultraviolet A, the UV rays that we have to worry about are UVA rays, UVB rays. B rays are the burning rays. A rays are more of the quote unquote aging. Those longer wavelength rays do come through your window glass. So even if you're indoors, you need some protection. And also the blue light from our devices. We also know that the blue light from our devices can cause hyperpigmentation and break down our collagen. So fortifying your barrier from the environmental exposures is really important.
so I need
Um,
sunscreen for my computer and my phone, right? Let alone
you
this huge window I have right here, because I do, there's some brands that I love, like Kerry Grand, for sunscreen
Yes,
underneath. I love, love, love Kerry Grand sunscreen. So,
yeah,
so you need that
you do.
even next to your window, and protect yourself from your laptop.
Now, the
Geez.
thing from the laptop, what's interesting, it's the tinted um, sun protection that's most helpful for the blue light, because we know the iron oxides in the pigment is really what deflects that blue light. So wearing a tinted moisturizer that has SPF 30 or above when you're indoors is great, and it can double as your makeup. So
Mhm.
um, yeah, so
Yes.
so so that can be helpful.
Finoche said, which brand? Kerry Grand, Karigran, right here in the Pacific, right in
Yeah,
your
she's
backyard,
in
in Pacific
she's that
Northwest.
they're in Seattle and really great. Those are great
Yeah.
products. I personally I have no affiliation, but I personally wear Ilia, ILIA, is a great brand too, because it has hyaluronic acid, so it's very hydrating as well as offering coverage, and it
Yeah.
comes in a lot of different shades too.
That's important. We like a 2 for 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, try them out. Find the one that works for you, but also 30 SPF. How often do you have to reapply it? That's always my like, oh, okay, I used it. I put it on at 7 this morning. Now what? So,
Yeah. So, you know, when we are outdoors, I think being more active, especially if you're on vacation or doing some sort of physical activity, the recommendation is every 2 hours. That isn't realistic when you're just sitting in front of your computer, but you may want to add a second layer, throughout the day. Um, but if you are outdoors, especially spending more time sweating, wiping things off
yeah.
every 2 hours is really important.
Okay. Every 2 hours, lady. And the UVA and UVB are B the one where you get the sunburn, and A is just the one that just gets you over time? Is that the difference?
So they're always together, but we know that the UVB rays are shorter wavelength. They contribute more so to the sunburn. The A rays are longer. They do penetrate deeper into the skin layers. and may break down the collagen and the elastin that contribute to the fine lines, wrinkles. The two raised together contribute to skin cancer. And what many people may not appreciate is skin cancer is the most prevalent cancer in the United States and Canada.
We
More
don't
than
talk about it.
And
Yeah.
we don't talk about it because for the most part, it's relatively easy to manage, especially non-melanoma skin cancer. But a lot of the work I do is helping people manage the anxiety, and the stress that come along with a diagnosis
Mm,
of skin cancer,
mm,
because it does affect a more visible aspect, sun-exposed areas. And we also know, and I shared this on my post this morning, that trauma, early childhood, emotional abuse especially, is known to contribute to conditions including skin cancer. So early
wow.
childhood emotional wounds, neglect, verbal abuse, coupled with, stressful events in our adult lives, UV exposure has been shown to be contributed to tumor formation, progression, and impact our response to treatment. So again,
Ouch.
outside in, protecting, you know, fortifying the resilience of your skin barrier, but also we need to attend and attune to what's happening beneath the surface that can contribute to what shows up on the surface, especially in this menopausal phase of life.
Mm,
There is kind of a trajectory. We need enough kind of like lead time, right? Things don't just happen overnight. It's this
right.
cumulative effect. And so we do need to pay attention to what's happening in our emotional landscape, because it does play a significant role in what's showing up on your skin surface.
You remind me, a friend of mine says, things don't live rent free in the body. And especially in menopause, I guess the rent comes due in midlife and it all just sort of shows up and your skin is a part of it. And so I had no idea that those two things together can create kind of scary havoc in your life, right? In terms of skin cancer, etc.
Yeah, so it's fascinating, and this isn't all doom and gloom. The beautiful thing is, because your skin is your largest organ, it is so visible that when you see things showing up,
Mhm.
I would offer, we've been socialized to believe that if something shows up, something is wrong.
Right,
Camouflage it, cover it up, like, there's something wrong with you. And
right.
I would offer the exact opposite. It offers an invitation, an opportunity to get really curious about what's happening in your
Mm,
life. What
mm,
might you be able to offer yourself of in terms of self-care? Is it that you haven't been sleeping? Is it maybe you haven't been offering yourself enough fiber and proper
right.
nutrition? Maybe it is that there are some relationships in your life that are no longer serving you. So it's actually nothing has gone wrong. So much has gone right because your skin is offering you a clue.
Yes. Wow. It's a big signal. We don't always listen to it. Sometimes we hear our gut because it kind of hurts, but your skin might not hurt. Although, let's see, Eisterhoff, Caroline, looks like, I hope I said that right. My face is inflamed, red, and itchy.
Yes, and so I'm sorry to hear that. That is very frustrating, but not uncommon. Not uncommon, especially at this stage of life. And, it's so fascinating that you mentioned the gut, right? Because we think of the brain gut connection, that your brain is your primary brain, your gut has been labeled as our second brain. If you think about it, your skin is like your outer brain.
Mm,
And your brain, your gut, and your skin are in communication all the time.
yeah.
This is why I focus on um, the stress response and toxic stress, because, again, we are wired for survival. We are always on the lookout for things that are a threat to that.
Yes.
And what happens when we are stressed? Your body is going to prioritize the functions that it needs to survive.
Hmm.
Pumping blood to your muscles, your heart, your lungs, gut function, not a priority. You don't
Right.
need to eat. You don't need to have
Yeah.
sex. Your skin function, yeah, you need it, but the cortisol is going to directly impact that skin barrier, break it down, make it more leaky, more irritated, more red, more
Mm,
inflamed. And, and so again, your brain and your skin, your gut are all um, connected.
And
So
that mental health piece of it, huge.
right. So that's why most dermatologists are not focusing. They know and they share, stress is an issue, but we are not in our primary training really spending a lot of time on supporting people with that mind skin connection. So I've made it my mission because listen, we your mess becomes your mission. When I had to diagnose myself with skin cancer, early melanoma, I realized, oh my gosh, what is going
Yeah.
on? And it really was a wake up call that we need to be paying more attention to what's happening beneath the surface.
Well, I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
Glad you caught it. And I'm glad, when we get those calls from the universe, I call it's like me being called to menopause. I was all business all the time over here. Like now I talk about menopause every day, menopause nutrition. Same thing. It's a beautiful part of midlife is that when we get those things that kind of shake us up, that brings us to our next purpose and calling. So I'm glad you answered the
Absolutely.
call. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, now that we've eliminated all the things that can happen, let's lift. How about some tips, Dr. Kiera? Let's make
Yes.
everybody feel better. Do you have some tips for us on how? Because also, Caroline asked about she has diabetes, so I'm not sure
Yes.
how we can wrap that, but let's see if we can put a little bow on that for her around diabetes, and then swoop into some tips. Sound good?
Yeah, what's so fascinating is your skin can give a lot of clues about metabolic dysfunction. There are certain conditions, especially that we know are tied to diabetes, like what we call acanthosis nigricans, which is a darkening and thickening of the skin, especially around the neck and the groin folds. There's conditions that the skin can get red and inflamed. So your skin can actually be a clue, even if you haven't been diagnosed formally with diabetes, your skin can offer clues that there's metabolic dysregulation. Um, and so really paying attention to how do we regulate our blood sugar and our insulin levels. And I think that goes back to what you're doing with MenoWell bars, right? Focusing on nutrition as a
Right.
place to start. How are we nourishing ourselves? And it's not always so much about what we're eating. That plays a role. But what I offer in my book, The Skin Whisperer, is an approach to eating. It's your why, right? A lot of us, when we are feeling stressed, when we're feeling uncomfortable inside, we're looking for ways to soothe ourselves. So we may be eating to soothe, and the choices that we're making may not support our skin health and our overall health very well. So focusing on a whole foods, plant powered nutrition, fiber. So we know that fat, fiber, protein is the trifecta to help regulate that blood sugar levels. So that's really important, especially for skin health. We're always looking at adding in fruits and veggies that have a wide variety of colors. The carotenoids are orange, the lycopene in tomatoes, um, blueberries, and looking for foods that can offer us antioxidant protection,
Mm-hmm.
knowing that it may not be enough and we still are going to need to fortify our skin barrier from the outside with topical antioxidants as well and UV protection.
I love that. You're speaking my language on all the things. Eat the rainbow. Eat the
Eat
rainbow.
the rainbow. So
Don't forget
true.
your fiber, fiber, fiber. I would say fiber's our BFF. We just don't think enough about fiber. We're so protein obsessed, which we need protein. We should be, but we need to be equally fiber obsessed, equally eating all the colors. Start with those
Especially,
things.
yeah, I mean, listen, gut health, skin health are intimately connected. And it's not always glamorous to talk about poop, but if your system is not moving through, right, we need to be feeding the gut microbiome because we know that certain conditions, especially psoriasis, eczema, rosacea, have been tied to gut microbiome dysbiosis. So we have to be feeding our bodies with foods that can help support a healthy microbiome so that your skin can actually flourish as well.
Well, and the skin cells change all. Like I'm sure we've turned over. Well, you tell me, how many cells have we turned over just in so far in 25 minutes or so? Tons,
I
thousands,
honestly,
right?
I don't have
Make
a
it up.
number, but we know like healthy skin. typically cycles every 28 to 30 days. The skin from the bottom layer to the top, you're shedding cells all the time. Certainly as we are maturing, that may slow down a bit, which is why your skin may appear a little bit more dull, a little bit more
Mm,
sallow. And this is why products like topical retinoids or bakuchiol or glycolic acid have been recommended to help like
keep that skin.
accelerate and remove those dead skin cells from accumulating on the surface.
I love it. I love a good scrub too. Mm,
Yes. Yeah.
super good. Okay, let's talk some tips. I know you have some tips to share with everyone today
Yeah.
about navigating this whole skin, midlife, mind, body, somatic connection. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the number one is a lot of what we've already been talking about is really when you look in the mirror, it can be so easy to just criticize and have contempt for all the changes, the wrinkles, the fine lines, the cellulite, all the things, right? And I would offer, listen, it would be Pollyanna to be like, I love everything about myself. Yes, like it's tough. But to use what you see, especially those who have been on here sharing that your skin is red and inflamed and irritated or giving clues of metabolic, dysfunction with diabetes or what have you, is to use what you're seeing as an opportunity and invitation for self-care,
Mm,
right? You
love
give
it.
no doubt that as socialized as women, you've given so much of yourself to everybody else. Your skin is talking to you all the time. Your body is talking to you all the time. And it's
Yep.
really important to pay attention to those whispers before they become shouts. And then it just is more challenging to address and deal with. So that would be number one, as best you can to use what you see to take inspired action.
Mm. You're using all my favorite words. Listening, inspired action.
Listen,
Must
it
be a
can be,
Davis thing.
right? I mean, it can be easy to just beat yourself up.
Yeah.
And this is where, people always ask, you're holistic. Are you anti-Botox? I'm not. In fact, there was a study that was
Okay.
done for Botox and depression, right? Like I have not had Botox in a really long time,
I have my 11s. I use
right?
them frequently. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but what was amazing about this study is because we have a tendency, negative self-talk, and it can really take us down a rabbit hole and a spiral and lead us to a feeling of helplessness, hopelessness, isolation. Um, but when you can immobilize those muscles with Botox, what they found is that depressive symptoms decreased.
Mm.
And if you think about it, if you can't make that negative,
Scowly look. Yeah.
scowly look, it opens up a window of opportunity to be maybe a little bit more compassionate, a little bit more kind, a little bit more gentle in how you speak to
Yeah.
yourself. And so from that perspective, all day long, I would say go
Go.
for it, right?
Okay.
Where
Okay.
I, where
Go
I would
ahead. A warning
caution,
here. Yeah.
yeah, where I would caution, and so many of the women that I work with and encounters, they invest in the fillers and the products from a place of, if I do this, then I will feel.
Mm.
I will feel loved. I will feel valued. I will feel secure. I will feel wanted. I will feel smart. I will feel thin enough, blah, blah, like all the
Yeah.
things. Um, and
It's
that
never enough.
that's not the way it
Yeah.
works. You've been lied to by society that if you look good, you feel good.
Right.
And it's the exact opposite, right? We are here to lift each other up, to support each other. And many of us need support outside of, our families and friends. This is why I'm so
Right.
committed to doing this work because it's when you feel good, you look good. You're inspired to nourish yourself.
Mm.
You're inspired to move your body. You're inspired to take better care of yourself. And that's really where it starts.
So good. I love that if it's something you want to do, there could be some benefit for it, but we still want to work on loving ourselves or at least accepting ourselves. Otherwise, all the Botox in the world is not going to solve that inside out job, right?
It's
So,
It's not, and the stuff is expensive, right? I want everyone to get the best return on their investment.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it. I've had it a couple times, and the last time was a few, maybe 5 years ago. I just felt so weighed down like this, and
Mm.
I couldn't be my usual, like, over the top self. I'm like, this is not for me. I'm just gonna own it and try not to be look like I'm mad all the time, So,
That's
but
not
do you?
uncommon. That's
Yeah.
not uncommon to have that
Okay.
heaviness. But yes, everyone do you. That's
Do
exactly
you?
what we're.
Do you? I love it. Okay. What else do you have?
So I think the important thing too is the work. Not everyone wants to do the work, like of going inside. But I think it's really important to get curious about what is important to you at this stage of your life.
Mm,
I think that's a big thing. Is it connection? Is it, focusing on um, what brings joy? Because at this stage of our lives, we're going through a lot. Maybe kids are leaving the house. I know I've got a senior in high school right now, and I'm about to be an empty nester.
oh, cute.
And it is bittersweet, yeah? And I realize, okay, what are the things that are important to me so that I can align my daily action in that direction?
Mm-hmm.
Um, because we can't always control, our hormones are diminishing, our bodies are changing, and yes, we can support ourselves with hormone replenishment therapy. Yes, we can move our bodies and all the things, but it really is important to keep reminding ourselves of the things that bring us joy rather than always focusing on the negative. And again, I'm not saying life is all rainbows and daisies and unicorns, but
Yeah.
it's really important that we find pleasure. Most people don't talk about um, pleasure as part of a skincare
Yes.
routine, but it is so, so important. It is
Huge.
so important.
I love it. It's just, well, one, we need to introduce you to Gabriela Espinosa, who's a dear friend, and that's all she talks about is pleasure from all of these different angles, and self pleasure, especially in midlife. But I love the lens through our, the impact of our skin in on pleasure and how it makes us feel internally and externally. So
Yeah.
good. Do you have
And
anything else up your sleeve over there? Yeah.
yeah, so one thing, is just specific to a skincare routine. You're using all your products, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And I would say you simple as best. I'm actually pretty non-compliant and lazy. I'll just say as a dermatologist, I got to keep it simple.
Yeah,
So
I have an
three,
excuse. What is your excuse for? Go ahead. Yeah.
I don't have one. Just because a lot of stuff is not necessary. So a gentle cleanser, fragrance-free, gentle cleanser um, that you use in the morning, a antioxidant product to replenish, and to offer protection from the environmental exposures you're getting on a daily basis. SPF moisturizer, ideally that's tinted, SPF 30 or above. And then you repeat that regimen at night, washing your face, antioxidant serum, and then adding in a product that can help skin cell turnover, like a topical retinoid or bakuchiol if you have a little bit more sensitivity. But I would offer that as you're applying these products, there was a recent study that just came out on the impact of touch therapy on helping soothe um, you know, anything that helps soothe our nervous system is going to help us soothe our skin. So as you are washing your face, inviting yourself to slow things down, feeling your feet on the ground, feeling the temperature of the water, feeling the texture of the product in your hand, and then what they found is gentle stroking touch.
Mm.
So, like a gentle massage. Number one, it decreases the stress response. It increases, talk about pleasure, it increases the oxytocin, which is our love hormone, our feel good hormone. And so not only are you fortifying the outside of your skin barrier, you're fortifying the inside by
Mm.
lowering that stress response, bringing a sense of presence, mindful awareness, increasing the feel good hormones as you're doing something that you're already doing on a daily basis. Doesn't take more time.
No.
You don't have to add anything to your to do list. but you've now helped your skin from the inside and the outside.
Wow. I actually feel calmer just hearing you talk about it. And I feel like I want to run over there in my bathroom, take everything, I'll start all over again. You know, our friends at Care Beauty have a beautiful serum that I love and a stone that, you know, you can just softly rub on your, oh, it feels so good. And you're right. It's just, in addition to the product, the benefit of being mindful and intentional, what a gift we can give ourselves every single day, every morning, every evening, and probably help us sleep better
It,
too. What do you think?
it actually, that's what the study showed.
Mm,
So, right, this might sound a little woo, but it's all evidence based. And what they found is that it decreased anxiety, decreased levels of stress, improved sleep quality, duration. So, yeah, this is something especially to add maybe into your evening routine to help prepare you for sleep. It's a good
really
idea.
good.
Yeah,
Well, woo plus science is like my jam. That's like, I love that.
me too.
It's a
Me too.
perfect combination. So good. Okay, as we wrap this up, I'd love to ask you one of my favorite questions. What does MenoWell mean to you?
I think we've talked a lot about it, you know, this idea of how to nourish ourselves inside and out, because this is, you know, yes, there are some negative symptoms that some of us may experience, but it really is the beginning of a new phase of our lives where we get to choose, we get to be in charge, take inspired action,
Mhm.
and well, live well at this stage of our lives.
Beautiful. Love, love, love that so much. So, how can we get more of Dr. Barr all over the place? I know you also do life and menopause midlife coaching. So, tell us all about where we can find more of you.
Yeah, so I love working one-on-one with women to really dive deep, but there's so much power in community and connection. And so I just wrapped up an 8-week group program that was
Mm,
amazing. So I'm going to be doing that again. So, on Instagram, I'm trying to get more active as well, sharing information. So at Dr. Barr, drkirabarr.com, you
at
can,
Dr. Keira Barr. I'll
yeah.
fill that in for you. Yes.
Um, and so, and for those of you who are really curious, I created a quiz too of, you know, what are the things that might be standing in the way of, you know, individuals who shared that their skin is flaring or red or itchy. I created a quiz to help you maybe get to the root of why your skin may not be responding to treatments you've been using or why it may be going a little bit haywire right now. So yourskincarequiz.com is a place where you can find that as well to kind of really offer some
Mm.
aha moments perhaps, and then some actionable tips that you can take.
Your skincare
Quiz. Yep.
quiz.com. I love it. I haven't done that. I'm going to hop over there and try that myself.
Yeah.
You know, I just noticed myself this whole time, like having to hold myself back. I'm just leaning into every single word. So beautiful and unique take on skincare and mindset and that mind body connection in midlife. So thank you for your gifts. I'm so glad that you decided that this is your purpose. Everybody, make sure you're following Dr. Kiera because you're going to be inspired and you're just going to get a different approach to your experience during midlife. So thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Next time you're in the Sacramento area, let me know. I will get in my car 1 hour door to door and drive and meet up with you. I would
I
love
would
to.
love that. I would love that. And I cannot wait
Yeah,
to go back and see the bars in every
that's it.
Rayleigh's everywhere.
And I'm going to send some bars to your son too. Okay.
Oh my gosh, he will love it.
I love those young guys. I have a 20, my youngest
Wow.
22. He's like, Mom, all my friends eat your bars. I'm like, tell them to get out of my samples. But I don't really mind. I think it's awesome.
I know. I think it's awesome too.
Good stuff.
It's just a testament to how delicious your product is. So,
You know, I love that. Love, love, love. Thank you so much for your time. Keep up your magic. And everybody, make sure you are following Dr. Kirbar after this and go take that quiz. Let us know when we post this. How'd
yeah.
you do? How'd you do? Okay. Until next time, thanks so much. Be well, everyone. Thanks,
Bye.
Dr. Tina. Take care. Bye-bye.